It's about becoming work optional. It's not about, say, retirement, which is in this like 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
It's not about that. You can become work optional probably within like 2 years if you actually did what you were supposed to do now. So I get like hundreds of investment opportunities. I probably only make about 10 to 15 a year, but that's because I have an actual framework.
And how are they coming to you?
Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high.
All right, y'all, listen up. If you want to be wealthy, meaning, let me define it. Meaning, you get passive income such that you don't have to work, but you can choose to work. It covers all your expenses and all your desirables. Like your lifestyle doesn't have to change when you retire type wealthy, okay? You need to listen to this episode. We're talking about being a millionaire at retirement, being a millionaire at rest, okay? We're talking about the wealth secrets of the 1% with my girl, Ange Matthews, who is absolutely incredible. So y'all get your pens and papers out, because she gave me one strategy, I think it was like last year, that we told our people, hey, do that, set that up, okay? Like, this is not a game. This is not one that you click in and click out of, okay? So, Ange, introduce yourself to the Speaker Ready Cash family.
Hey, y'all. I'm Ange Matthews, founder of the Happy Investor Method. And what I do is I help you create wealth on your terms so that you can have your money work way harder than you do.
I love that. Now, Ange also is a money magnet. I don't know if she's going to talk about that, but she's one of those people. I've met a couple people like this in my life where money just finds them. Like it just comes to them with ease and flow. And so if you want that, listen to this. All right. So, Ange, let us know. I want to know some 1% wealth secrets. What are some wealth secrets of the 1%? Like what does the 1% know about money that everyone should know about money?
I love this question because there's so many things that we don't know. And I think for a lot of people, you don't know what you don't know. That's the first thing that the average wealthy person knows. So I think the second you think you know everything is the moment your money's going to stop growing for you in many different ways. So I have a personal mantra. My money comes with flow and ease always, forever.
Yes.
And so there's nothing that I can do to stop this money from coming to me, but it is up to me to find out how to open up the channels of wealth, right? It's up to me to find out the many different vehicles that can be in my parking lot of wealth. And so for that, you have to think about it in a bit of a creative way. Everything you see in this world is up for grabs in terms of ownership. Right? Because it was created, it can also be owned. And so when I think of something and I see something, most wealthy people think, how can I own that?
Yeah.
Not how can I use that? How can I get that? But how can I actually own it? And how can I be a part of the money ecosystem? So when I see people, say, example, Facebook ads, or I see people doing entrepreneurs in our economy that we've created is so amazing, I think about how can I own that? How can I own all this wealth that, example, Ashley is making and helping other people make? What are some of the tools that she's telling people to invest in that I can actually own so that when they invest in it, when they up level, I'm a part of that. And so that's something that you need to start thinking about when you're being like intentionally saying, I want to be wealthy. How can I own that?
I love that. And so, okay, so let's say we're starting from scratch. We've never even, like, they may be living paycheck to paycheck, making six figures, right? But even when I was making $300,000 a year, I don't think I had a really strategic investment plan. So what is the first step? Is it just to open an account? Like, is there differences between the accounts? Should we be using Robinhood? Should we be using, like, what should we be using to start owning some of these companies? Like YouTube. We're on YouTube right now. And we're also using other Apple Podcasts. So Apple, right? And so how do we even start owning these companies? Like, what's the first step?
So the first step you need to do is actually get a pass to the game, meaning you need a brokerage account. And so there's different types of wealth. There's different ways to do it. Identify your lane. So for me, I know that I'm a passive person. I'm not an active investor. I don't do options. I don't do day trading per se, because I have a very full life, and running my business and with my family, it's a lot. So I know that if I'm going to invest in something, I'm investing in something that can literally show up to work when I don't want to show up to work. So first things first, you're going to need a brokerage account to actually own it. But you want to figure out what is it that you're going to own, right? And so number one, narrow it down. What is it that you want to own? We mentioned YouTube. Who owns YouTube? Google owns YouTube. We mentioned, Apple. Well, okay, you can go and invest in Apple. So once you figure it out, figure out how much is it to own it. You can literally Google Apple stock price, and you will get the price of Apple. And then you go into your brokerage account. There's Robinhood, Fidelity, Charles Schwab. No one pays me to say anything, so I don't say much about it, but just go Google top brokerage account. And then once you do, you simply just buy it. You can buy it, say, for $100, or you can buy $10,000 worth. You can buy 1 share or 10 shares. It really doesn't matter. Put a pinky toe in. And I want you to think about this. Every time you use your phone to do Apple Pay, think, well, who's paying me? Well, if you actually owned Apple stock, you would get paid even for that one transaction.
That's good. You know, okay, there's a lot of myths about investing. Okay, this is one of mine. Do not laugh, Ange.
I'm not going to laugh.
Okay, one of my myths about investing was when you buy a stock, that money basically just goes into the ether and I'll never see it again until I'm retired. So I never buy stock with the thought of like, oh, now this stock is going to make me money this month. I literally buy it and I'm like, well, that's gone. Like that money it'll eventually I'll see it, but it basically goes into the ether. Are you saying that when you're investing in stocks, you're cash flowing from those stocks in real time now and using that money in your present day life? Or is it a part of your retirement planning?
It's both. And so on one end, I can utilize it anytime I want, right? I can cash it out. And so if I put in, I guess $500 into Apple last month and it's grown tremendously, I could just pull it out myself. If I do a dividend stock, they're giving me rent money pretty much. They're giving me like a paycheck every single month or quarter, depending on the company. But I kind of want to bust this whole retirement thing where people are saying, well, I don't want to invest because it's for retirement and that's just so far from now. I need my now money. I think that's a huge mindset block, because the thing is, it's about becoming work optional. It's not about, say, retirement, which is in this like 60, 70, 80.
Yeah.
It's not about that. You can become work optional probably within like 2 years if you actually did what you were supposed to do now, which means invest with the mindset that I'm making this money 2x, 3x. You can pull it out when it's 2x, but for me personally, why am I pulling it out when it's 2x? I want it to 5x. So I keep it going so it can keep snowballing. So we're working for work optional, not necessarily retirement. And when I invest and when we teach our students to invest, we're investing always for the next phase of our life. So we're not thinking about retirement per se. Right now, I'm investing, for example, my kids are toddlers, right? I have a 4 and a 7-year-old. I'm investing for a better elementary school, right? I'm investing right now so that I can put my kids into a private elementary school. That is very soon. That is so real. I'm investing for one of my aunt's next birthday milestones. So I know I'm going to put this money in this account, and when it's their birthday next year, I'm going to pull it out and give it to them. They're going to think, wow, Ange gave me this money from her hard-earned money. No, not quite true. I actually just invested in a stock and pulled it out when I had to give it to you.
And so what does that look like tangibly? So let's say, okay, the kid's private school we're doing private school right now. They're getting us too. I won't say getting us, but I think they're allowing us to invest in her future to the tune of maybe $30,000 to $35,000 a year. And so if I were to say, okay, I want to make an extra $35,000 from investing, and I want to make that per year, would I be looking at the stocks that possibly have the highest return? Wouldn't those be more volatile stocks?
They are. I would look at stocks that have more growth potential. So an example would be, there's a company called FTNT. That's the ticker symbol. And we're going to get a little bit in the weeds, but I won't make it too confusing.
Yeah.
I say this because everything is happening with AI. We're going through
Yeah.
a huge tech boom. And I know that cybersecurity is going to become even more and more important. So it's important now, but it's going to be hella important later. So I invest in a lot of cybersecurity. I invest in a lot of AI, a lot of tech in that way. And so FTNT, just a year ago, it's grown 95%. So even if I had just put, I don't want to say just like 10,000, because that's my tolerance. I built up to this. When I first started, $100 in investing used to want to make me throw up. So I've been doing it so long that I have more of a tolerance. This is what we're going for. But 10,000 in that, and a year later, it's now 20,000, right? And then I expect it to keep on performing. Of course, this is not advice for y'all. So if you do invest in this company and it goes south, you cannot come and sleep on my couch.
Yeah.
Right?
And
Full
this is
disclaimer.
all for educational purposes. She's not
Yes.
giving you all financial advice. I'm not giving you legal advice ever. So, yeah.
Yeah, we got to put that out there. And so for me, I know, okay, I put this 10K in here. I know that in the next 3 years, it's going to become $30,000 to $40,000, and then it's easy. And the account that I'm doing it in, I'm doing it in one of my kids' retirement accounts. And so I'm investing in one of their retirement accounts that is okay for me to pull out for education. So it's like there's also tax
So
things
there's
here.
layers.
There's
so
layers
there's
to
okay,
it.
so your kids can have a an account that you can invest in, but it also allows you to pull out for their education present day, even before college, before all of that.
Yes.
So that's where the strategy comes in. That's where the coaching comes in. Is like we could come to you and say, hey, Ange, here's what we want to do. Every year we take a sabbatical. It's about $70K. We want to have $70,000 additional from investing. And then you'll do some analysis and let us know like what a good strategy would be.
Exactly. Exactly. And so you did mention, well, what's another strategy that wealthy people know that other people don't? One is tax planning. And so this is huge because for me, I remember the first time I had my really big launch. I think it was maybe like 125,000. I went to my husband, and this was like the first time of like, man, I was, really kicking rocks, and then I just kind of popped off, right? Consistency. And I went to my husband, and he was like, yay, this is great. And then it was tax time. I remember this. It was April. I was like, I'm doing my taxes on time. I'm filing it. And then the tax man was just like, so you guys owe like $50,000. And I remember just crying because I had to go back to my husband and be like, so what had happened was I made this money and I gave it all away because I also bought a lot of stuff. I reinvested in my business, and this was the first time I forgot to reinvest in myself. I didn't actually invest in investments so that if there was a tax bill, there was money making in the background. I reinvested in my business, and this was my first lesson in boundaries with my company. This was the first time that I realized every time that my company brings in revenue, at least 20 of that has to be reinvested into myself and my family because I poured into others. I need this money to continuously pour into me. And it was a very hard lesson.
That's a good rule of thumb, though. So you said every time your company makes some money, you put 20% into the markets.
Yep,
I
invest into my own wealth building. I put it into the markets. My business has an investment account, and we have our own personal investment accounts. And so with that, now that if some unexpected expense comes up, or if I want to take a sabbatical, or if I have expansion to do, I know that money is coming from a brokerage account from investments that I made maybe just a couple months ago, and I didn't have to actually pull that from our revenue. It's a whole other revenue model or stream within our company and my personal life.
And so your company has an investment. So what are all the accounts that you all have? So your company has an account, your family has an account, your kids have their own accounts, you and your husband have your own accounts.
And joint accounts.
Okay, cool.
We have a lot of accounts, but the reason why is because certain accounts have tax benefits and other accounts don't. And so I mentioned taxes because a lot of people plan for taxes in January through April, but if you're smart with it, what you're supposed to be doing is doing it in Q4 of the year before. So coming up around September is when I really start getting on taxes because I never want that to happen again where the tax man's like, you owe this much money.
Yes.
And I can't do anything about it.
Yes, exactly. Right? I've been there.
It's a very horrible feeling because you're like, I could have given this to a whole family member. I could have had somebody retire.
Or your team.
Or my team.
We started doing, one of our accounting strategists was like, hey, you have a 6-figure tax bill. That could have been in a pension plan for your company. And I'm like, now you tell me. So, it's like one of those things where you don't think, because we work so hard to make the money, but if we don't work as hard at managing the money, all the money you've made is literally gone. So
it evaporates. It's like strainer money. It goes straight through your hands.
It is. Oh, I've so been there. So heart out to anyone there now. I don't love the tax time, okay? But if you plan for it, it actually gets a lot easier because then it's just like, okay, we're going to buy these properties, we're going to do this, and you get more responsible. And so how did you even get into this? Like, this isn't something you're born with. No one is born with this. So how did you get into this?
I got into it because I thought everyone else knew it, and I was the only one who didn't know it. And so I grew up really, in an attic apartment in Queens, and a lot of people would come and go through our building, our house that we shared.
You said an attic apartment?
An attic apartment. It's a family house, and we were on the top floor in the attic. It was so hot. It was always so hot. And so we would always, people would come and leave, and they would buy their own house, and then they would go off. Their kids would leave, and I kept on thinking, like, why am I missed out here? Why is my family not getting money? And I kept on thinking that something was wrong with us because I feel like God loves all of us the same. Why isn't God loving us in this way? And I realized that it actually was just about your openness to receive and the misconception that you have to work really, really hard. Because the reality is my parents worked so hard.
Oh, yeah.
My dad used to work on Wall Street and he used to work at 7-Eleven at the same time. Like my mom, I wouldn't see her for days because she did live-in work to take care of old people. So it really wasn't work. I was clear about that early.
Yeah.
And so for me, I thought there has to be another way. And I started really studying people who made money. And then I got real specific with it. I said, I don't want to have new money where people win the lottery and then
Oh,
a
yeah.
year later it's gone.
Yeah.
And to me, that's the equivalent of having really strong launches. And then you ask people, where'd the money go? And
They
like,
don't know.
They don't know. And so I was really clear. I don't want it to be that way. I want to work one time and have it pay me forever. And so then I started studying millionaires. I started studying billionaires. And a lot of times the biggest mindset was that if it can happen for them, it can happen for me. So a lot of people at that time, they didn't have my skin color. They were white, old men. They weren't women. They weren't child of immigrants. They weren't inner city. There was just all these reasons I could have said, this is not my story too. But I also know that if it can happen for them, it can happen to me. So I started on that rabbit hole, really dissecting. And then lastly, what really triggered was that I invest and I repeat my investments. And so when I invest and I make money, I don't spend it. I take half of it and I reinvest it. I'm always looking for investment opportunities. So when we have our programs, our clients are just like, Ange, how did you find this random investment? How did you find a hotel? How did you find a Broadway play? How did you do this? Well, the thing is that once you say, hey, God, use me as a tool, I'm a steward, show me what to invest in. If I'm the only access point, show me what needs money, what needs this fertilizer so it could come back and grow. And once that happens, your ears start perking up and all you have to do is learn how to evaluate it. So I get like hundreds of investment opportunities. I probably only make about 10 to 15 a year, but that's because I have an actual framework. So you want to figure out the framework or at least a method for producing good investments, because not all investments are actually investments that are for you.
And how are they coming to you? Are you on lists? Are you on, I know there's like, you could be an accredited investor and get opportunities that way.
So I usually find them. A lot of it is speaking. I tell people, like, I'm an investor. Let me know. I have money. I'm in a very unique situation where I actually have money to deploy.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a good problem. I'm looking for investment opportunities so that, hey, I have a slot coming up in 2030 where I don't have a lot of money coming to me. All right, I'm investing for a 2030 slot right now. I have an investment where in 5 years it needs to double. So I'm looking for that, and people come to me. I speak at conferences. You can join angel networks if you're an angel investor. When I speak on a stage, and if I like the company that I'm speaking with, I say, like, hey, I want to be an investor. And then they're like, sure, I'll email you with my guy, and he can send you our deck. Or I'll join an investor call. Once you take on the identity of an investor, a lot of it becomes receiving. And so that's a lot of it, as a woman, and I talk a lot about, sometimes being a masculine thing of investing. It's also very feminine because a lot of my opportunities kind of come to me. Like, I'll think about it, and then it's like, oh, it's here. Like, I really want to invest in a spaceship, and I did because I want to one day go to space. And so I invested in a spaceship. But the thought that I wanted to go to space was there first.
It's like being conscious.
Yes.
So being conscious of your thoughts.
And your desires and not really holding back. Like, if you want to own a franchise, put it out there and just say, like, I want to one day own a franchise.
I love that. We are going to get back to this good episode in just a second, but I have a question for you. Can I help you build a $25,000 offer, like one that you could sell to small businesses or large businesses alike? And can I do it for free? Because that's exactly what I'm doing at the end of this month at the Your First Corporate Offer Summit. For 2 days, I'm going to show you on day 1 how to build your corporate offer, and on day 2 how to sell your corporate offer, and it's going to blow your mind. We have had thousands of students sign up for this summit, and they have always gotten value, but I feel like you're VIP if you're watching this episode. So if you get a VIP ticket, I'm going to hand deliver to you 50 corporate offers and the prices that you can charge for them, so you don't even have to think about whether or not this offer is quote unquote good. Now, we're also going to give you an opportunity to upgrade to a platinum ticket, which would allow you to get one-on-one coaching from me during the summit. Everyone with a platinum ticket gets at least one-on-one question time with me during the summit. So you get to ask your question, come on Zoom, and I'll coach you live right there. Look, whether you get a free ticket, a VIP ticket with the workbook, or you upgrade from VIP to platinum, you are going to have a great time. And if you want to sell higher tiered offers, this is the summit that you have to attend to. So go to speakyourwaytocashsummit.com and get a ticket to the Your First $25,000 offer summit. And I'll see you there. So what is your vision for your company in the future, and how did you come to Speak Your Way to Cash?
Vision for the company is huge. I was actually going to ask you about this because I feel as if the vision is so big. And where I am now compared to where the vision is, it's so different. And so for me, you know, like there's a sign. I went to a restaurant one day here in town, and it was just like, all I really want is everything.
Yeah.
And I was like, yes, this is me.
All I
Like,
really
I
want
want
is
all of
everything.
it. And so the vision for the company is actually to have a certification program so that the Happy Investor Method is a household strategy. I do think it's the best investing strategy so far. All the other ways are so outdated. And even if people have advisors, everyone should know how to manage their money because no one's going to care more about it than you.
Yeah.
So you have to do this. Having an actual venture capital fund. And so that's a really big deal for me. Having corporate contracts where we really put investing into curriculum for education is a really big deal for me. Creating with our DAF strategy, which is another time to talk about, but creating donor advised funds so we can create cash flow within our own not-for-profits in our community.
And what's a donor advisement fund?
A donor advised fund is an investment account specifically for charitable giving that any regular person can do. So sometimes you think you have to be a Rockefeller
Yeah.
to have a trust or the Ford Foundation, whatever that is. But we have just our own regular foundation, and I created it through Fidelity. And what's really beautiful about it is that the money you put in, you get an immediate tax write-off. And when you hear about billionaires saying, oh, we donated to this cause, I think Jeff Bezos just recently got married, and he said, okay, don't give us gifts. We're just going to donate like 1,000 or whatever for every single guest. He probably pulled it out of his donor advised fund. What's even crazier about this is that the money kind of renews itself because it's an investment account. And so an example for me, we had put $20,000 about a year ago. We gave away $6,000, and I checked the account yesterday, and it already has, again, like $19,000. So I gave away 6, it has 19, which means it still has $5,000 of free money for me to give away, right? I still haven't really broken into it. And so it's a really fun thing to play with. This year, we're giving even more to it now that I know it's working. But what's really beautiful is that you get to
And do you
decide who
direct
gives
it?
it. Yep.
Okay.
You direct it. You get to decide which organization gets it.
But you direct what it invests in. To
And you can
multiply.
you can direct it into a fund. And so that's kind of one of the things that my people love to do. They're really heart-centered. They want to give. They want to make the world a better place. And so we can figure out funds that we want to invest in to then give that money to, and also have that money pay back dividends in charitable causes.
I love that.
It's a real boss move. It's like really one of those things that I've heard about it for years. And you know how sometimes you hear about things for years and you don't do it. And then one day it's like, now is the time.
I'm doing this right now.
I'm
Yep,
doing it.
Yep.
Right. And for a lot of you, it might be even investing. You're hearing this and you're thinking like, wow, I never really thought about money. I'm ready to make my money work. Like, I need to be work optional.
And you can automate it. Honestly, you guys, just automate what goes into that account, and then you can like be strategic about what you do. But I know for me at least, I had to start automating the money to go over there. And then, get strategic about where you want to put it.
Yeah,
But
that's how you become an automatic millionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not. Like, I have a really full life. I am not in my investment accounts all the time. I don't. I do it maybe about 4 times a year. I'll do a deep dive, and then I'll figure out what I'm investing in, and then we just automate it. And so I'll look when I'm like feeling bummed out about the business, or I'm just like, I didn't make this much from this launch, or I'm tired. I'll just look at my investment accounts, and I'm just like, oh, thank God it wasn't all on me.
yeah.
Like, whoo, child. And then actually my investments have made more than my company has made. And that's just crazy to me. And that's because every time I make money from my company, I put it in an investment account.
It's smart. That's the way to do it.
Because one day I want to sell this company.
Yes.
And
as you should.
as we should. We should be selling our
As you
companies.
should.
And I need to make decisions from that place.
And each individual aspect of your company can be sold. Like your certification can be sold, your different pieces of it can be sold, and you can still retain a lot.
Okay, you're going to help me with that.
Yeah, because one of the things we think about is like we have Speak Your Way to Cash Live, which is really like my face is on a lot of it. But then we have Black Women Sell Live. And I told my team, I'm like, we're going to scale that for sale. Like that event asset could be sold like independently. Even your newsletters, your podcast properties, your individual. That's why intellectual property is property. The same way you can sell real estate, you can sell your IP. So each individual aspect of your company has an individual evaluation, and you could sell it as a whole. That's everything. Or you could sell it piecemeal, sell individual properties, which is really cool. But yeah, so I love that. I love that. So how did you come to Speak Your Way to Cash?
I came to Speak Your Way to Cash because I had actually retired. And I had a good problem where the strategy worked and I became work optional. And it's crazy because people don't think it's possible. But no, I was work optional. I hadn't really done a launch or anything with the business for about a year. And I know that I needed a coach that was gonna, hold me accountable. And,
Force it out of you.
and I mean, we work, I'm a work in progress, y'all. And Miss Ashley is so patient. And I know she says stuff in her head. And I know she has branches. Like I have a counselor. I have I have a therapist, and she be talking about these branches in her head. I was like, man, Ashley probably got like a whole heap of branches when she sees me. And that's what I wanted in a coach. I wanted someone who could hold me accountable, but also not necessarily like forcing me to do. I have one of those very strong personalities where it's just like, I'm going to do it in my time. And so I needed someone who could respect my time and also know when I'm just BSing. And be like, yo, you got to go to work. You said you wanted to go to work. You hired me for you to go to work. And so for someone, I'm not one of those people where I need the money in this way. And seeing Ashley's vision is very inspiring. And I also needed someone who wouldn't be threatened by my power, because this is me operating maybe at a 60 to 65%.
Yeah.
And one of my internal stories is that I don't want to be too much. But I know that, like, there is no too much with Ashley.
Yeah.
Like, and so for me, when you think of a star and a star, it's important to put yourself where two stars can coexist in the same space.
Yeah.
And I love that about you. And so for me, and I love that you attract those people.
Yeah.
So for me, it's not necessarily being in anyone's community. There are a lot of communities out there, and a lot of people offer really great results, but what's going to get me my results, right? I need someone who has that legal background, who has that vision. I need people where they are also my ideal client too, right? And so I want to see the fruits of my labor. I'm no longer trying to make just anyone wealthy.
Yeah.
I could discern who I want to make wealthy, and I really want to make our community wealthy.
Yes.
And so having other women who are with me, other people who have done the hard work, and for me to say, like, sis, you're working too hard. Like, let me just show you how to sit down for a second and figure this out, and then you can go back and work. I love that. I just love the ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so that's why I joined it. That's why I found it, because I actually did the academy. And the academy was not it for me per se, because I didn't need another login. Like, I need some accountability in my life. And so I wasn't using it. And I didn't think that your strategies didn't work. There were solid strategies. I just realized that was not the area for us to work together to get the results that I desired.
Yeah, you wanted a higher level of
I needed a higher
accountability and
level
coaching.
touch point. I needed to ask you questions. I needed to post it in a group and actually get a response from you.
Right.
And it's just real. And you get what you pay for.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm okay for paying this if this is what I'm going to get. And so it's about understanding what you need to get the results you need to get.
Yeah.
And so that's why I joined. That's how I found it. I went to the event. The event was amazing. It was amazing to be around other people in a closed space to kind of just talk about it without being worried about social media, without being worried about how am I going to be perceived?
Yeah.
Because in a world where everyone thinks you're the smartest person in a room, it's really hard to step back and say, I'm actually not the smartest person in a room, and I need support with this.
And what's been your biggest win since joining?
What's been the biggest win? There's so many wins.
You've had a lot of wins.
I've had so many wins. And my wins, I'm one of those humble brag folks where, because I know where I want to go, I have micro wins, and I'm working on it. We working on it. And so I remember this really big win, specifically my first launch back. And I say this as a big win because it's not necessarily the money. It's that it worked.
Mm-hmm.
And so that win was that I decided to do it messy. Ashley's like, just do it messy, just do it messy. And I remember doing it messy and being on that call, our mastermind call, and being like, y'all, I didn't even have the video on. I turned the video off. And then I didn't even have the words. And I was like, okay, I'm just going to be transparent, show the video. I looked like crap, like my eyes were baggy. I hadn't slept in a long time. I think I actually did cry on the call because I was just like, I don't know what I'm doing here. And everyone just poured in and was like, okay, take a breath. This is what we gonna do. I can help you with this. Ashley's like, this is what you have to do. You're overthinking it. And then I think what we ended up doing was probably about 86,000 or something like that on that one launch. And it was beautiful and it was raw. And I later took that money and I invested in an investment because that was money I didn't account for.
Yeah,
It was
extra.
like free. It was extra, not free money, but extra money. And so that I think was probably one of the most monumental wins. I mean, since then I have like my mastermind, like we've had multiple six figures, I think 378,000. came in, but still that first win
Yeah.
is the win that reminds me like I can do this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not alone. And it also was a moment where I realized that God would not forsake me.
Yes.
And so thank you for that.
Thank you. Thanks for doing it. Because that was a lot. Like, that was a lot to do, and to be vulnerable and to trust that you made the right decision in joining the space, and that the people in the room could handle all of you. The powerful exemplification of wealth you, and the one who's like, look, I'm gonna need some help with this. And not judge you in either environment. So that was really powerful. So we're about to wrap up. Do you have a business question that you've been wanting to ask me that you think I could answer for you?
It's crazy because we're literally going to have our mastermind.
I know.
And I'm just like, should I save it for the mastermind or should I not save it? But no, I'm going to trust this question is what it needs. I've told you where I want the company to go.
Yeah.
And I also have ADHD. So I'm kind of like
yeah.
an all or nothing kind of person.
Yeah.
And I can ramp up. And if it's not time, I lose interest. And so my question is, how do I stay interested in executing the entire vision? And how do I structure it in a timeline that's healthy versus like burning out?
Yeah, I think that you don't have to execute the entire vision, and you won't be interested in executing the entire vision. I don't even think you'll be interested in executing most of the vision. I think what you're interested in is the why. Like, what you're interested in is the people behind the vision. And so as long as you stay connected to the people, what'll end up happening is you'll write out exactly what you want. You'll visualize it or whatever you need to do. I like to have a vision board of like, I force myself to dream as big as I possibly can, write it out, have a vision board, and then map out what it looks like, and then put dates and times to it. So if I have like a 10-year plan, I put the 10 years on there. And then I just focus on executing this year's plan. And I really look at, especially now, I'm looking at, I don't need to do all this. You know what I mean? So like, we just hired a leadership team. We're looking at who can do all of this work. I'm time auditing a lot right now, because if my vision involves me going to different countries and going to different places around the world and speaking and inserting Speaker Ready Cash, like Speaker Ready Cash Global and Speaker Ready Cash Enterprise and Speaker Ready Cash, like all of these different things, then what I have to do now is stabilize where I'm at now. Like, make sure I have leadership team for that, make sure I have people for that. But if you look at it like, I got to execute this whole vision, and the vision's massive, you're not going to be interested in that. No one should be interested in that. In fact, I think you need to really have not a vision for just what you want, but have a vision for who you are. So have a vision for who you are to the vision. So if you are truly the visionary, the CEO, then what does that person need? That person needs a board of directors. That person needs a director of sales, director of operations. That person needs different divisions. That person probably runs or owns several different companies, but maybe operates none of them, because you come in and you cast vision for those organizations. And then you just get more specific as time goes on. Like, if there are examples of what you want, then put that on the vision board and go from there. But I would look at it less like, how do I stay interested in the execution, because that is not interesting. I don't really like posting, but I do like the impact my posts make. So I stay focused on creating the content and someone else posts it. Because honestly, sometimes I don't like the way I look in certain things. So if it's up to me to post it, I wouldn't post it. Like, the reason I'm on this weight loss journey is literally because I saw a reel of myself and was like, that lady's fat and I know that can't be me. and it was like, I was like, nobody was gonna tell me my chin was getting doubled. Like, y'all just weren't gonna say nothing. And literally, I would have never posted that, first of all. But it has so much engagement. I'm like, they are all just gonna look at this double chin and not tell me. Oh, I clock it, as the young kids say. So I got on this weight loss journey, but that's like, I should have, if it were up to me, it wouldn't have been out. But because it's not up to me, someone else is the poster, I'm just the creator, I focus on my zone of genius so much that all that little stuff that would typically catch me up is just not where I'm at. Like, I'm not in that part of the business. And so I would say, have not just a vision for what you want and what you want to have and what you want to see, but have a vision for who you are in those moments and in all of those different phases. And then I'd pray about how to get it done. But I also write down, like, these are all the assets I want to, and we'll do that this weekend at the mastermind retreat. Like, these are all the assets I want to create. These are all the companies that I want to own. This is what, like, I even did visualizing with how much I want to have in retirement. And I told ChatGPT, like, I want to at least retire with passively $1 million. $1 million, I think it's like $1 million a year. minimum. Like that's like my minimum. And it was like, okay, great. So you need to be investing about $24 million right now. There's like if you invest $18,000 per month now, then that is very reasonable for you by the age of 60. And I was like, okay, great. So now it's like, okay, well, what revenue stream is just going to bring in my investment money? What's going to bring in my $17,000 a month? Because we're doing like $6,000 a month now. That's not enough, clearly. So I'm like, all right, cool. We need $20,000 a month investment. What revenue stream is going to do that? And it's not going to be laborious. And matter of fact, who's going to bring in that money? Which of my many team members is going to bring in that investment money? And how does it need to be structured? And how do I want to feel? I think that we don't think enough about how I'm not led by my feelings, but I'm cognizant of them. So how do I want to feel at each phase? Because if you think growing a business is always going to feel stressful, you will never scale. Because you'll be like, I'm stressed at 100,000. Ain't no way I'm getting to 1 million. And I have clients who say that. But if I know, well, I like to play tennis twice a week, I need to pray at least this many times, I need to have this much sun, then it ain't that stressful.
Clear.
Yeah.
I have one quick follow-up question.
Okay.
Because I'm an investor, I think about all the assets, right? So I have Happy Investor Method, the Skool of Happy Investor Method, and the venture capital firm. I kind of have I have a very clear timeline, like over 10 years, how this is being executed. But the thing is, I want to kind of start putting seeds for each of those. And so in terms of timing, I figure like, should I do 20% of the work for each? And then so that when it's time to pick it up, there's just 80% left. I think where I'm struggling is I have so many investments in people that want me to invest in them. I could run the fund now, but how do I decide, like, no, it's not really time for the fund yet. But I don't want to lose the momentum that comes with the opportunity to create these different revenue streams.
Because you really want to do it now. I think, well, one, I think that you're discounting how much momentum towards one direction helps everything else. So one of the things that we want to do is have the Speak Get Ready Cash Foundation. My goal is to have it launched by the time we do Speak Get Ready Cash Live. But because Speak Get Ready Cash has grown over 70% from last year, I just hired the team to build the nonprofit. So that doesn't lose momentum, but the fact that this one company has momentum and I'm focused here allows me to easily invest in the other companies. Now we can start it with $100K. We're the first donors, then we can do some stuff that we want to do. So I'm always a big believer of focus, and then from extreme overflow, allocate. So set your goals. Like when Speak Get Ready Cash does 5 million, then we're going to launch this. When the nonprofit hits its first $1 million in donations, then we're going to launch this. Like have goals for what each needs to do. And we have a goal for our goal for Speak Get Ready Cash. Like we're like, all right, well, how fast can we get it to a $100 million company? What does that look like? And then at each phase, that unlocks something else that I actually want to do. We wanted to do a global tour this year, but it didn't make sense with our schedule. However, we're going to London anyways, so we planned the London event. So I'm like, okay, great. When London goes well, we can launch Speak Get Ready Cash Global's tour next year on the back of this. So it may be some opportunities to do a little bit towards it, but the main thing has to stay the main thing. So we would not have done a London event this year, but for us leaving for our Disney cruise from London. But because we were leaving from London, we fly in a couple days early. We're literally not changing our travel schedule. We're just adding that one event. So it's like, focus and then have goals. Like once we do this, we'll do this.
Got it. That's real clear.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So tell everyone how they can find you, how they can invest with you, how they can learn more or learn more about the Happy Investor Method and get you to help them to become work optional.
Oh, yes. So you can follow me at happyinvestormethod.com or Happy Investor Method on Instagram. But we do have a challenge called the Map Your Millions Challenge. And this is where you're going to get the vision to see all the different ways that money can come to you. Seeing is believing. And so I'm really transparent about not only my wealth, but the wealth of my clients. And I'll put some gems down for all the other billionaires in my network and how they're making their money right now. So you definitely want to tune in for that. And you can go to happyinvestorguide.com and you'll be able to automatically register for that challenge.
I love that. Y'all, write down. If you heard a word that you didn't know, just write it down and go to ChatGPT, baby. Google it at least. Don't just be like, I don't know that. I'm switching off, whatever. Talk to Ange. Go to her challenge. She's absolutely incredible. Just the little bit that she shared here should show you that you want to be at her event. And Ange will be at Speak Get Ready Cash Live. So I want to see each of you there. The theme this year is Expert Olympics. And we have a 2-time gold medalist speaking at the event. We have multiple NFL players speaking at the event who also own businesses in the speaking arena and who have had to deal with sales, marketing, and operations. We have one of the most probably We have one of the best media buyers in the world who's worked with Dean Graciosi and all of the big wigs in our internet marketing industry who's going to talk about how you can buy clients. What? How you can just straight up buy clients. We're going to show you all of this and more. The speaker lineup is crazy. We haven't even announced all the speakers. You need to go to speakerreadycashlive.com. We've sold out our hotel 3 times already. It's not a game. 400 experts have already said yes, and you need to be the next one. So go to speakerreadycashlive.com, and I'll see you there. For everything you sell, you need a vehicle. Sales calls. Challenge. Our event is a vehicle. It's one way you can sell an offer. You're marketing not just for sales, you're also marketing for data. In your portal, it shows you how to have a brand guide. What brand guides do is it ensures that no matter who designs your stuff, it looks the same. I help y'all land 5- and 6-figure contracts, but there comes a point in your business where you are the one giving 5- and 6-figure contracts.
You cannot afford not to come to this event.
You are missing out. There is so much energy at a place like this.
Everything has been epic. I've never been to a training where I've been engaged in literally every session.
This mastermind has truly changed my life.
My mindset has shifted.
It has allowed my business to grow tremendously.
6-figure speaking contracts.
Get in the room. This is unlike any conference that I've ever experienced, and I am a conference junkie, information junkie. I've been to all the things, but I have never been to an event like this.
If you make it from a certain spot, go back high, go back further, shoot it again. And if you make it from that spot, then you realize, hold on, this may be too low of a rim.
The hardest thing to be in life is yourself. Why? It's because it's the noise. Too many of us are believing what other people are saying about who we should or should not be.
Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. Energy high, excuses low. I need energy, need only good people that's around me. All the faith you can give, that's the recipe.